right, a little after 7. We have our quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. I hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving. And welcome to our final meeting of 2025, which means you guys have survived a whole year of me as chair. Okay. First item on the agenda, and this is kind of picking up from something we had briefly touched on in the November meeting, is possibly adding an ADA compliant ramp somewhere on the pond. I've reached out to my counterpart in Hopkinton, Sabine St. Pierre, and she put me in touch with John Lewitus, who is on the Upton Parks and Recreation Committee, and they in fact installed an ADA ramp over next to the launch over the launch ramp over on North Pond, or Maspinock if you're pretentious. I have not heard back from him, so I have no idea on what their ramp cost or where they sourced it or anything along those lines. And I want to poll the committee and get some input on, do we want to recommend that the town, and this would be in conjunction with our rec committee, do we want to make a recommendation that we add 1, possibly 2 to Pratt and maybe 1 over on Wildwood? I just want to kind of throw that out there and see what everybody thinks. The nods tell me, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Certainly worth investigating.
Okay. Well, I will reach out again to Mr. Lewitus. Now, is this something, and I'm just spitballing here, is this something that our rec committee or should be, touching base with, or is this just a nice recommendation coming from our committee to RecCom?
It seems to me that they should be involved because this is recreation.
Mm-hmm.
We're really mostly, I think, about the water. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't, I don't know that they play any significant role in sort of the, fishing, kayaking, boating, recreational activities that take place on Pratt Pond or elsewhere for that matter. Doesn't mean they should or shouldn't, but I think they're mostly about the programs that are run from Kiwanis Beach.
Well, and kind of piggybacking on the back of that, wouldn't or shouldn't or aren't they, isn't the town mandated to make those kind of accommodations for folks who need it so they can access the recreation?
Yes, and they've made lots of accommodations so that people can participate with the programs that run on Kiwanis Beach.
Okay.
And they continue to do that. I think from a bandwidth perspective, they may not want to engage immediately.
Yeah.
With trying to create accessible opportunities for the like for a kayak ramp or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be engaged, but my guess is they're going to give us the go ahead to go do it if we want to do it.
Well,
I think it should be included in the management plan that we're writing. That's going to be put out there for public comment.
That is an excellent suggestion, because I certainly wouldn't recommend that lakes and ponds volunteer to to purchase and have it done, because that's the yeah, I don't think that's within our scope, but I think maybe a recommendation from our committee to add something like that. And, you know, working with rec committee might be received. And Bill, you mentioned the kayak ramps, which was item number 2 on the agenda. And Mike had mentioned that last meeting. And is that something we want to further explore, maybe in conjunction with the ADA compliant ramp for access?
I
Well,
have
I
a
think-
question, and I can, let me just ask this quickly. So at the boat launch in Upton, it's a slope.
Correct.
So in my thinking, ramp is a slope. So I guess I don't really exactly know what an ADA compliant ramp would be at on a place that's a slope already.
Well, I think what we're talking
Go
about
ahead, Mike.
is a basically a fishing platform that somebody can that juts out into the water a bit, that someone can take a wheelchair and get out
Fish.
into the water and fish safely. You know, there's also a state program that provides these, and it's possible Hopkinton used the state program to help them. And I think I can send. There was an article in Mass Fish and Wildlife magazine a couple of years ago that I think I shared with you guys, but I can share
I
again.
believe you did.
But that's a state program that funds it, at least, and you know they built one in Shrewsbury not too long ago. You could go take a look at that one too. I think the kayak accessible launch is, you know, maybe a lot simpler thing to do, and since Rec already has a kayak program, you know, again, this could be a recommendation in our report, and that one I would really point towards recreation too,
Okay.
because they have a kayak program, and we're not talking about a whole lot of money to provide some sort of a you know, a kayak launch that, you know, that's more accessible.
Yeah.
But
So it's more like a pier. The first AGA one is more of a pier, like a fishing pier.
Yeah.
yeah,
Eh.
yeah.
And
The other
for ADA compliance, the angle of the slope has to meet certain requirements, and the angle of the boat ramps, either both in Maspinock and here at Pratt, they are way too steep for ADA compliance. The angle has to be a lot shallower in order to meet ADA requirements. So that's where you know, a different type of ramp would be required.
But that even sounds different than from what Mike was saying. That would be
no, not
straight
at all.
for a
I'm-
wheelchair.
I'm talking about something, some sort of a platform that gets people out into the water a little bit further than normal, and that's safe along shore. The other thing I wanted to mention was this was proposed by Ken Picard some years ago. Ken was a selectman, but it didn't go anywhere. He kind of pulled it. I've got the of intent in a report that he prepared. I've been meaning to scan that. It's one of the things I want to scan and share with people. And CPA funds could be used potentially for this too, I think. I think that was Ken's idea way back, you know, maybe 15 years ago. But it would basically be a platform that sticks out into the water a bit that someone could safely maneuver a wheelchair onto and fish from. And the location, you know, would have to be somewhere where, you know, which is a good fishing spot, and which also is accessible, you know, from accessible parking.
I always think of a ramp as a slope, and in this case, we're going from a slope to something more level.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, I'd call it a platform, not a ramp.
Yeah. And again, ADA compliance, you have to have a slope that I think it's like 2.3 degrees. For some reason, that's sticking in my head. It can't be any steeper than that, so that folks on wheelchairs are able to roll up and down that, because like I said, the launch ramp itself, the angle is much steeper than that, and that would not meet requirements. And then, where to put it is another question. And I think that's something that RecCom would have to look more into than us.
Should we have a meeting with them?
No, we do not have a meeting with them right now. But if
No,
we
but
want
should
to,
we?
right now we have the luxury of some time because we're just getting into the winter months and we don't have budget calls coming in yet, knock on wood. But that's going to be happening real soon. So that may be something to discuss with them in the off season.
Yeah, I think we'll start the budget making process in about 6 weeks.
Yeah. And that's a line item on tonight's agenda. So moving on from those two things, I will reach out again to our counterpart on over in Hopkinton, and Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you want, I can share a picture with you. It's of one of these structures in Jordan Pond in Shrewsbury. Should I try that? See if I
Yes,
can
please.
Sure.
figure out what I'm doing here first. But it was an article that I saved from a newspaper. Let's see.
I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing for a long time. So welcome to the club.
Looking for my. This has happened before. I don't have an arrow right now. I can't. Wait a minute. Under more.
You looking for the share your screen thing?
Yeah, I don't have the up arrow.
In mine, it's on the top, right next to the leave button, right next
Yep.
to the ending.
Well, I know how to do this. Oh, wait a minute. Is that it? All right, maybe that
It
is
says
it.
share, and then you'll have to click on something
I
else.
got it. All right, just a minute.
There we go.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
ADA accessible. Blow it up a little bit here. But I think the state provided funding here. See if
It's
what the article
stone.
says, if I remember right. I haven't read it for a while.
White stone.
Yeah, so it's a pretty substantial structure. I mean, we need permitting and but I believe yeah, here's the State Office of Fishing and Boating Access provides assistance for something like this. So I mean, we could go take a look at this and even get to get a picture of it, include a picture in the in our report. Plus the Hopkinton one. I wonder what the Hopkinton one looks like. We should just go look at it.
Yeah, that one's easy.
See what they do.
It's kind of sits on metal pilings, and it's just almost freestanding right next to the launch ramp over at Maspinock. It's easy to get to.
Okay.
This article
So
explains the process that they had to go through to get this all approved and what led to it being developed.
So the one at is the boat ramp at Maspinock right off the highway?
If you go up Downey Street all the way to the end and then take a right, when Downey Street ends, it'll take you right to the parking lot by Sandy Island, where they're swimming.
Sandy Island. Okay.
Where their swimming beach is and where the boat ramp is.
Okay.
I've never seen it. I've been there a lot, so I'm wondering where it is.
They just put it up this year, and
Okay.
literally it is just to the left of the launch ramp. Okay.
Well, I volunteer to try to get some pictures of these things.
Thank you, Mike. And can you forward that article that you just put up to us also, please?
Sure.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is, and we talked quite a bit about this last time, is the Habs blue-green algae mat. And Mike had floated the suggestion about possibly having that mat mapped to see how large it is. Did I send everybody the September, or was it October? The September water sampling from P1, the 12-foot level? The algae numbers were still quite elevated at P1, but and I entered them in the spreadsheet. Did I send that to everybody, or do I still owe that to you guys?
I think you did.
I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, the numbers weren't quite as high as they were in August, and I would be really interested in seeing how extensive that mat is. And when would be the best time to try and get that mapped, and some of the logistics behind it, and how would we do that?
Dave, did I share an email with you from Wendy?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
I-
And I'd rather have you talk further on that, because I just don't know.
Okay. Well, no, I just want to start off by saying one of the things I think we should do is we've got TRC on board. We should ask them what they think of this idea. But I did get a cost estimate from Wendy Gendron, who is the her company is the company doing work at North Pond or Maspinock. And just full disclosure, Wendy and I work together at the Corps of Engineers. And she's still with the Corps of Engineers, but she has this, I think her and her husband, they have this side business, lake management. She's been operating for many, many years. Anyway, with, some caveats, her cost estimate for a day to try to map the benthic map at Pratt, I think was $2,500. And that would include mapping with a underwater camera, assuming that the pond clarity was adequate enough for the camera to be used, which I think it is. I think Pratt Pond, the water is pretty clear. But I think we'd have to follow up with her some more. We wanted to do that. But the time would be like probably something like next, in August some year, when the mat, when we think at least the mat is, probably at its, maximum extent. But I'd like to ask TRC what they think about the idea, and if they've ever done it themselves or seen it done.
Yeah.
I don't think Wendy's ever done it. She's done plenty of underwater camera work, but specifically to map a mat, I don't think she's done that.
I made a note about asking TRC about that, and I will reach out to Anna Chase tomorrow, asking those questions. Have they ever done it? What do they think? And ask for their recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some data going back 3 years now. From TRC's provided data from 2023, and the data that we gathered the last 2 seasons. So we can, maybe extrapolate a little bit from that 3 years worth of data to when the might be the peak season for blue-green algae, not necessarily blooms, but just the highest concentrations based on what we've gathered over the past few years. I think that will help narrow down when and where to look. I'd also like to, kind of interested in how deep it goes, because our sampling over the past couple of years, you're not seeing a lot of it at the 9 foot level, but at the 12 foot level, it's definitely there. But does it go all the way to the bottom? And P1 is the deep hole. That's the 16 foot spot in Pratt Pond. And how extensive is it? Now, these are all questions that have popped into my mind about this. How big is that map? How extensive is it? And how does that change what we recommend to the town moving forward as far as managing the pond and trying to limit these breakups and pond closures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get answers to one question and it always brings me 3 or 4 more. But does everybody think that that is an avenue worth, a rabbit hole worth going down?
I keep thinking that because we're doing such deep testing and nobody else is, we're finding out things that nobody else knows. And we are finding out there's a lot of algae there that we wouldn't have known about otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And so it may be, we're finding out things that are somewhat dangerous for our population.
Could be.
And everybody else may be in the very exact same position and not know or never know. And if we were ignorant, if we didn't do it, we wouldn't know either, but we do. So I guess we have to sort of keep going with it, but it's going to have real implications for the use of the pond, I think.
We were talking about alum treatments and things along those lines, but I don't know that we have enough information yet to make that kind of recommendation. And maybe TRC, and if we get it mapped, if we're able to map the extent of it, maybe then we can go down, have a little more information to make those kind of recommendations. I still have not reached out to anybody over in Wayland because they were doing pretty much the same thing over in Lake Cochituate near their swimming area. So I'll have to reach out to them.
Dave, didn't Sally say that she could make this meeting tonight? She preferred it was tonight instead of the 8th because she couldn't make it?
Yes, she did.
I'm going to email her. She may just be forgetting, and I think we could use her input as well. Okay?
I'll agree with that. Go right ahead.
I don't have any other number for her.
Mike, you're on mute.
Lori, do you have a number for her?
I don't think I do.
Hold on. I thought we had a.
I have email is all I have, her personal email.
Didn't we? Maybe we should have done. Didn't we do a membership list? I'm looking. Hold on. Lori?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? We have a membership list. Her number is 508 308 2545.
508 308 2545. I'm going to give her a call, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay.
Cillian, can I update that list with your phone number?
What now?
Sure.
It's 774
774
573
573
3209.
3209. Okay, thanks. I think I'll send that list around again.
And Killian, are you bumping up against your time right now?
Yeah, I thought I'd wait until at least 7:30 to say that.
Okay. No, yeah, Killian's going to have to drop out here in a couple minutes. He has other business to attend to. So uh, we'll wish you happy holidays and all that good stuff, and we'll see you in January.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Okay, she's coming.
Okay.
She just forgot.
Okay, good.
Oh, Killian had to leave.
Yes.
I missed that.
Good idea, Lori. Thanks. Thanks for.
Yeah, that was.
Wish I thought of it sooner, but I forgot about that. She had said she'd come. I was just thinking, oh, it'd be good if she was here, but she did say it. She just forgot. It's easy to do.
You wouldn't believe the notes I have for myself to remember this meeting.
Yeah. Especially when it's the first of the month and sometimes you don't turn the calendar.
You folks see the weather forecast for the next few weeks? We're going to have a ice in soon. I would guess next week or maybe the week after.
They're
Like,
talking about 5.5 inches tomorrow.
Yep.
They had lessened it to 1.5 and now it's back up to 5.5.
and single digit lows in about a week or two.
Yeah, I saw that they were expecting a polar vortex spillover over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're getting hit hard right away. Here she is.
There she is. You're on mute, Sally.
Unmute.
I am so sorry.
These things happen.
We were to get you caught up. We were talking about the blue-green algae mat and the potential for possibly mapping it next year. And Sally, sorry, Lori said, "Hey, we probably should get some input from Sally on this." We haven't.
So the
we
numbers,
haven't
numbers are still
proposed
high
anything.
at 12 feet down there, even
They-
in September. Not as high as they were, but they're still high. And it's the oscillatoria, which is one of the worrying ones.
Yeah, I do think we have to have a real multi-year plan on how to manage this. It looks like a problem that's not going to go away on its own.
And
And also-
Sally, I just want to bring up, we do have a quote for a company to use an underwater camera to try to map the extent of the blue-green mat. It's like $2,500. It's Wendy Gendron, who's the person who was working at Lake Maspinock, her
Mhm.
company. And like I sorry for Pete, I just went. I used to work with her, and she still works for the Corps of Engineers, but she also has her own on the side consulting business. And that's it. I reached out to her for a cost estimate, whether she thought it was feasible, and a cost estimate. And feasibility we need to work on a little bit, but the cost estimate was $2,500
And that's
I'd
a
like to
camera,
give-
per day.
and that would just identify the concentration areas.
For the location of the map, what I would guess she would do, or they would do, she's got a pontoon boat, and they would just run transects through the pond, and at some predetermined point, they would stop, lower the camera, and make a determination if the mat is present or not, and then move on to the next location.
I was saying this, Sally, that, because we're doing this, we know about it. And it's possible that every other pond in the entire state has this type of thing and doesn't really know. And so it'll have implications because the more we know, the more we may find out it's dangerous. And we have a big swimming program and summer program on that pond, so I guess it's important to find out, but it's also could be problematic for that.
Yeah, I don't know what other towns and other states have for, everything from stormwater management to geese management to the problems that we're encountering. I know that's a big problem, but I know that I believe Pratt Pond is probably worse than like Wildwood because Wildwood is more overgrown around it. So the access for like geese is probably not there. So we're probably not going to see it as much. But that's just like my own guess. I think we have a serious situation at Pratt, and I think we have to really, really bring in the recreational committee and have a joint meeting and talk about how we want to manage these different steps. I think like Jim, like you were saying there, if like we can get somebody to come in and think about the concentration areas in order to bring down the load that we already have there, should be done, but we also have to go into the management of the future, right?
Yeah. And
Right.
that was one
And
of
we
the
have
things
to
I was
know where it
discussing.
is. Yeah.
It would be nice to have that information. We had, timing of when we try and find this thing and map it out. That's, we can use some of the data that we've gathered over the past 3 years. But you were talking about bringing in, having a joint meeting. Is this something that we would want to have the Board of Health involved in as well? So, like kind of a three-way meeting between us, RecCom, and BOH.
Yeah, I think it's the livelihood of the Pratt Pond recreational beach, the future of what's happening with them, or what the future of Pratt Pond. And so I definitely think it involves, well, it does involve the Board of Health. It also involves the DPW, like as far as stormwater management feels like but I do feel like it's big, right? Like this is where are we going? How are we going to manage the stormwater runoff that's feeding the pond, assuming that that's where it's coming from? That like we have
So that's what
a
you think it's the geese and the runoff that's causing the algae?
and I do think there's absolutely some upstream stuff that's happening probably in that that we're talking about in that to the left of, like if I'm facing the beach, to the left of the beach or to the left of where you are in that area, there seems to be that was that. But I mean, Jim may think differently, but I definitely do think that we have a serious situation that needs to be managed, right? And the geese aren't going away. They seem to be increasing year after year. So, with the heat waves on top of like high stormwater impact, it's just that's not going to slow down, right? We have big flash flooding that washes all of that geese species into the pond and followed by heat waves.
Yeah. What about source point pollution? Talking about runoff. We know that around the pond we have some stormwater inlets, but what about other areas up towards where, say, headed east on Hopkinton Road, heading towards Hopkinton, there's the natural gas pipeline that runs up there, and I don't know what else that could be providing source point pollution into Pratt. Are they fertilizing like the soccer fields and the ball fields over at Kiwanis? And Bill's shaking his head, which tells me, yeah, they do. So I'm wondering if some of that runoff is adding to the nutrient loads. I don't know how big a problem the wildfowl pollution is. I mean, and how do we control that? But it would be interesting to do some grab samples after we get some wet weather and see what's actually running into the pond. Bill,
I have one little thing to add also, is that the air quality numbers have been very, very, very high at the Kiwanis Beach Light and at the community center here for the last week or so. And surprisingly so, and other places not around us. So something's going on here, and I don't know what it is.
interesting.
I know. And what I would say is last week, it was very worrisome. They were in the red and the purple zone. It was getting higher and higher, and there was no one else around. And then one night, the whole East Coast was high, and I didn't hear a thing about it. And now then it just settled down to just us again. And I'm gonna go get my phone right now and look, and I'm gonna look at the last couple nights and see if it kept up.
Well, before you go, hey, Lori, but before you go, when you say the numbers are very high, is there one specific measurement that's spiking? And I don't know what is actually being measured, but what's
It's measuring particulate matter 2.5, small particulate matter.
Okay.
So,
Mm.
all right.
I just want to add one thing. We kind of talked around different sources of nutrients. I think one that you got to include is internal recycling. That there's already a ton of phosphorus probably already in the sediment, and it gets released when the pond goes, when the bottom of the pond goes anaerobic.
I think
I
TRC
think-
mentioned that in both of their reports.
Okay. But we just
Yeah, so I agree. I think of that as like the phosphorus budget, right? So we have so many nutrients in there that keep recycling, but we seem to be either exceeding that budget now, or the way that stormwater is impacting the pond, the budget management isn't working as well. So there's more flare-ups, right? So, yeah. I agree that
Yeah,
the phosphorus and phosphates our total phosphates are getting recycled in different ways, but the way we manage it right now and what that looks like now is different from what it was. Like maybe it managed itself in the past, but whether that we've exceeded our phosphorus budget capacity or not is another story. So.
Hmm.
well,
Yeah.
those algal blooms, the benthic algal mat suggests we have,
Yeah.
The other source of phosphorus, I think it was kind of alluded to, but I'd like to ask TRC about this too, is the cove area, that big wetland that, is at the north end of the pond. That's very shallow, and we do have some phosphorus data from that cove taken this year, and I believe the phosphorus levels were pretty high, and
I believe there were.
and that's a source too. And what happens there is, that, and we've got DO data to support it, that the overnight the phosphorus, the DO levels drop substantially in those shallow water areas, and when the DO drops, I would postulate you probably get some phosphorus release at the same time. So.
And yeah, that's the major source of inflow, aside from some of the springs that are underneath, which you wouldn't be getting a lot of phosphorus. But the basic flow is from that area to the east, and that shallow cove. That's where I think that's where P3 is. P3. So
yeah,
that's
I think
what
we call it P3.
I think we call it P3.
Mhm.
And yeah, that
So there's
cove
a
is
lot
a
of-
concern.
Yeah, so there's different steps. We can definitely start thinking about that cove itself, the inlet to the cove, tributaries that feed the or I think it's just one tributary that really feeds that cove, and whether there's other areas of source or point source
Yeah.
pollution.
Another one would probably
right,
be
that would one area.
groundwater.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what we're talking about is, maybe, and it would take more data than we have, would be to develop a phosphorus model for the pond.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, the number, it's been going up to 150 every night, which is in the red zone. Right now, it's the highest place in town. It's at 82. I can just show it to you how it looks. You're not gonna be able to see it.
Yeah, we can't see that.
No, you have to look at purpleair.com, and then we have an upton-air.com website that we made to go with it that gives more information about it. But every night it's been going very, very high. And the community center is at this end of the pond, and the stoplight, it's the same pond. It's the community center goes to Mill Pond. It's our waterway here in town. And I don't know if there's something larger that's affecting the air quality here, or, there's construction going on downtown, but not by the stoplight, so I don't know.
Nope, there's no construction going on right now, aside from what's happening on Milford Street, which is 140. And boy, there's a lot of construction there. And that's completely on the opposite side of the pond. But
Right.
you're saying up here by the stoplight and over at Kiwanis, you're getting these air quality spikes?
Yeah,
Isn't
and it's
that
going
interesting?
up very high every single night, even on beautiful, clear nights, so,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
Okay, so
There's really no place else around us that's like that. You get to go as far as like West Springfield or something before you get another high one. We're just, it's a little bit of an anomaly.
yeah, but does that have any effect on what's going on in the pond? And we can't
Well,
we
bad
can't
air
say
is
no,
gonna
there
go-
isn't. Yeah,
Right, because bad air is going to fall into the water, right?
we can't say that there isn't. So that's really interesting.
Well, I don't think we're going to get phosphorus from the air quality. So we're really focusing on a phosphorus study than,
So
apples and oranges here. So
is
I just,
anybody have any ideas on how we would do a phosphorus study? Would that, require taking sediment samples, and how would we measure that during the year? I
We'd
just
have to
don't.
we'd have to hire someone to do it. They would take sediment samples for phosphorus in different locations and do some sampling during wet weather events, storm events, dry weather events. They might need to do some testing of groundwater, capture some groundwater, maybe from those deep holes, and sample the groundwater, see what the phosphorus level was in the groundwater.
This sounds like it's a very big, way above our level of the food chain.
Well, yeah. I guess it depends how certain do you want to know what's going on. I mean, another way to approach this would be, okay, we think we have a phosphorus problem. We're pretty sure we do. We don't, know everything about how phosphorus works in this system. But is it time to try a flocculant application to see if that solves the problem? Without doing a huge amount of studies to determine whether or not it would work. So at some point you gotta potentially rely on professional judgment rather than spending a lot of money
Speculation, yeah.
to collect data. I don't know, and this is where when we get TRC in the room with us at some point, these are the kind of questions we should ask them. Of course, they're a consultant. They may be recommending further studies, but if we ask the question, I say, well, given what we know now, what is the likelihood that an alum treatment, say, would bias at least a part of a solution anyway.
And could that be done small scale, just in a section of the pond to see what results we get to, kind of, a borehole test kind of thing.
you know.
Is that something that the company that already does our aquatic control would do? Bill, do you think?
I have no idea. Sounds like it'd be similar to what they're already doing, but
Again, that's what, we need to, when we're reviewing this report, this management report, we need to, ask TRC, pros and cons of doing more, developing a phosphorus model versus taking the information more or less what we have right now and recommending an alum treatment or recommend doing nothing, at the moment.
Have they noticed the algae? Has it been in their report at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of it, I believe, is based on the information that we have provided to them. And they've added, from their 2023 study, but they've also looked at it based on the information that we've given them in 2024 and this year. And I don't know if they've come up with any real strong recommendations for looking at it. I know that they've talked a little bit about the phosphorus, but I'd have to go back and relook at what they've sent us to see if they made any recommendations on that, or this is something that deserves further study.
We have access to what they've sent us now. We're supposed to be looking at it, right?
Yep. Yes.
We have to make
And that's a great segue into the very next item on the agenda, which was if everybody has had a chance to look at the drafts that TRC has sent us. We're in the comment period. They're looking for comments from the committee. I've made some comments, and I think I have sent them to you, Mike.
Yeah.
But if anybody else, if you can take a look at the drafts that TRC has sent, and if you've got any comments, we need. I want to compile them because TRC is kind of asking us, "Do you have any comments?" So I'm kind of uncertain on the status of our whole comment period right now. But when I talk to Anna this week, I will ask her. We are in we got the 90-day extension on the contract has been extended. So that's been signed off and everybody's happy with that. So, but please take some time, and if you've got any comments on TRC's drafts, please let us know.
Dave, do you want to propose a deadline for comments? Back to you. And please not like tomorrow.
I was going to recommend yesterday. If we could look at it and have it done by December 30th. I won't say the 31st because that's a dead day anyways. But yeah, if you could, if I could ask for comments by December 30th, please. And next is budget requests. We kind of danced around the issues. I know I'm looking at probably a 30% increase in this year's budget moving forward. I haven't talked to Finance Committee yet to see how amenable they would be to that. But given what we're finding this year and the potentials for things moving forward, I think that some increased testing here, sampling, I shouldn't call it testing, sampling, particularly in Pratt, I don't think that that's going to be a hard sell myself. But if we have anything in the budget that you would like us to see, to ask for money, we're going to start getting into budget calls here real quick. So I'm going to also ask for that by December 30th. And
so I'm just wondering, like when we bring in the Upton Rec into these conversations about budgeting, because if we're wanting to do more rapid testing and algae testing and hoping that Upton Rec might assume some of that, I suspect that they're putting their budget in for next year
Yep.
also. And if their budget is going to change a little bit because we're going to ask them to assume some of these testings, then we should be having that conversation sooner than later.
So do I want to try and put a meeting together with Rec and Board of Health for some time this month, around the middle-ish of the month?
If it's possible. I know December is really tough for people, but
And I believe Diane has retired or is retiring at the end of the week or something.
I saw her today. Yes, she is. Her last day is going to be Friday.
yeah, I'll try to stop by then.
And Trish is going to be there through the end of the month. I think that they think that other Diane who subs for them sometimes might be in some, but Trish is, I think, planning to do a little bit what she can.
And I will try and I will reach out to all of those entities tomorrow and see if we can make something happen sooner rather than later.
So is Marie Tonry responsible for, as the department rec, responsible for putting the budget together?
She does that with the commission, so Recreation Commission.
Okay, good. Okay, so I know Maria and other folks on the rec, so that would be good. Yeah, I think we should try to get that together.
Okay, I will.
I think for this particular one, I don't know if it's possible to do it in person. I know I was not able to attend the last one in person. I'm so sorry, but being a first time where we meet together, if it's possible to be in person, I think we might make more headway.
I agree with that. Yes. Yeah, I think in persons are better actually. So I will start working on that tomorrow. Next item on the agenda is the calendar 2026 sampling plans. Do we want to stick basically with the same sampling plan that we had this year for both Pratt, Mill, or actually all three of them, Pratt, Mill, and Wildwood? Or do we want to start farming out a little bit more to some of the smaller ponds, to Taft Pond, Goss Ponds, just to get some baseline information? I'm not talking about taking algal samples and the phosphorus samples and all that stuff, but just some baseline information, DO and pH and dissolved solids, things that we've been, that we're actually getting pretty good at. I am open for suggestions.
I feel like we've got our hands full right now trying to resolve this. I don't know.
Yeah, and
I'm
there's
worried. We
a
keep
difference
finding stuff.
between
What are we
what
going to
we
do
can
with it?
and what we have to pay to get
Well,
results for.
That's why I'm thinking just some baseline information if we start dabbling in other ponds, or do we want to keep our concentration on the three that we're looking at right now? My particular leaning, and tagging on with what Lori was saying, is that we stick with the three that we're working on right now.
Yeah, because I think we're adding to what we have right now. Our three aren't like, it's not like we have those three under control and we're ready
No.
to add something onto it. We're like really full right now and making our life more challenging. So I don't think we're ready to take on more.
So when you said that you think our testing budget needs to, or our budget needs to increase by 30%, is that because
I
the
don't-
cost of what we are doing is going up by 30? Or you have some specific changes you want to make to the sampling plan and testing plan?
We had a lot of samples that we never sent off this season because we ran into some surprises, particularly with the blue-green algae. We did a couple of samples that set us back almost $1,000. I think that the one invoice was for like $700. And I've got like 13 algal samples sitting down in my beer fridge right now that are never going to be going anywhere. But they only have a 1 year shelf life on them anyways.
Don't
So-
drink it by mistake.
Oh no, they're in brown plastic bottles, not brown beer bottles. So that's a non-issue.
I just looked at the calendar for meetings for December and I didn't see anything for RecCom or for Board of Health. Board of Health just met. We met with them about in the teens of November. And they usually plan a meeting when they have something to discuss. So this will help.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a targeted kind of meeting that, hey, we think we have a potential issue here. I won't call it a problem, a potential issue that we need to kind of alert a couple of our other committees and try and come up with, here's how we think we should proceed.
It's great we're doing it now. We've got all this time because they're going to be heavily invested in us solving the problem so they can get the camp open.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to solve it between now and the springtime, but having some sort of course of action would be helpful.
Yeah, so
In the
yeah,
spring.
even if we get to a place where that we've, like embraced this rapid testing or different ways of testing our process for shutting down the pond, that's a step in the right direction.
Mhm.
And how that gets budgeted and who does the sampling, I mean, that's like one little piece that we can talk about and try to decide. The next level is the management of it all. Like, how do we manage the phosphorus and the stormwater and like the future of the pond? But like how they're going to manage next year is like within that, like even if things we don't do, there's nothing done to treat it, like how are they going to manage it next year if nothing's done, right?
I
And
can
then like
imagine one of the questions is
next
going to
level,
be,
like,
how do
how
we
we
keep the algae from blooming again? Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So there's a couple levels there, right? But that first one is like, how are we going to approach next summer better than we've approached
Yeah.
it in the past, right?
And that's
If
where,
we think about a meeting, think maybe about a Monday night, because that's when the fewest meetings are.
Okay.
But not next week. I've library trustee that next week.
Okay. We're getting close to our turning into pumpkins here. Our last agenda item, and Susan Brower sent out an email today about the annual report. I've got a draft written up, and I told you folks I wanted to try and have it out by the end of November, and I missed that deadline. So I will send that out, and that's open for comment. And do you think we need to add this, that to it, take that out? But they're looking, I think the deadline for the annual report to Susan is due January 12th. So I'm going to more homework for you due by the end of December.
Okay.
I'll send out the draft, and if you have any comments on that, if you could have that back to me by the end of the month, I would appreciate it.
Thank you,
We
Dave.
can vote on it at our next meeting and still make the date, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the next meeting.
Thanks for doing that, Dave. And actually, thanks for everything you've done this year for
Yeah,
the committee. It's amazing, amazing how much good data you collected.
I just thought it was
Thank
what
you.
I was supposed to do,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, any other topic items for discussion that we didn't touch on that we need to raise?
I'm kind of curious, did you take another look at the Pratt Pond Dam?
I have not. Holliston right now, they just did something very similar to what we're looking at. There's a pond in Holliston, that's where I learned to fish, that has another low head dam. It's very similar to the Pratt Pond Dam, and they have all their stop logs out of it, and right now they're beating it up. Very similar to what we're talking about with the Mill Pond Dam. Do we do anything with it? Do we rehab it? Do we remove it? So Holliston is kind of doing the exact same thing that we're talking about right now with Mill Pond. As when I did look at the Pratt Pond Dam, there was only one stop log in there, and they were only, like this tall. So we could possibly lower the lake level another 4 inches, but that'd be about it. It would be no,
According to the, yeah, so that, we should be able to figure out that dam is fairly new.
Yeah.
It was reconstructed in the 90s, I think.
But I
according
don't
according to the highway supervisor, it consists of a series of stop logs, and you can basically take all the stop logs out and it'll virtually empty the Pratt Pond.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that again because when I did look at it, I didn't see any sort of sluice gate for, like they have over at the dam over on Maspinock. I didn't see any mechanical means of lowering the water anymore, but I'll have to go take a look at it again.
Yeah, I guess there's something you can attach, cables to, and you can just pull them up.
I'll have to look at that again.
Are you saying that if we lowered it, Pratt Pond would go away and go into Mill Pond? It would float into Mill Pond, the flow?
I'm saying that according to John Johnson, if you took out all the stop logs, you could almost completely drain it. He said that because there's sediment that's built up by the dam, you end up with a pool left because it won't go over the sediment that is accumulated by the dam. So, but you would basically, so the statement in one of the annual reports is they lowered it by 6 to 8 inches or something like that. That I think is possible.
Yeah.
Is possible?
Yep.
Well, the only thing, the pond is, most of the pond is, more than 6 feet deep. Except for this cove area, and I can't, that dam just isn't very high.
No, it isn't.
I don't think you'd even have 6 feet there. If you could remove everything, the dam went away tomorrow, I think you'd still have a much shallower Pratt Pond, but the aerial extent, at least the main part of the pond, I think wouldn't change.
Yeah.
So the purpose of,
I'm only feeding.
Oh, I
back.
know, I'm not, yeah, Bill, I'm not challenging what you're saying. I know you said it's the
yeah.
DPW guy, but just, if we just look at the bathymetric map of the pond that we have, what that dam did was, enhance the volume, and mostly the volume of Pratt Pond over the natural pond that was there.
So if you did draw it down and Pratt went away, that's what
It's
happens
not
when
gonna
you
go.
do a draw down.
No, I think Mike's right. It's not going to go away.
It's not gonna go.
Yeah,
Right,
Pratt
but
Pond
it
is a
goes down
naturally
low
occurring.
enough, but does it go down low enough to freeze and kill the
No,
weeds?
I don't
And when
think
you
so.
then when you raise the level again, you'd have the pond back?
I don't think that's an option here. And again, TRC ought to tell us that
Okay,
for sure. But I don't think that's really an option here.
Yeah, I don't think
Because
we
it
could
would
draw
be
it down the
taken
way they
from-
do Wildwood, or not Wildwood, but
Maspinock.
North Pond. Yeah, Maspinock.
I didn't think it was either, but you just started talking about lowering it 6 or 8 inches, so it sounded different.
Because it would be drawing from the top, right? Is that why? And the phosphorus concentration would be towards the bottom at this time of year anyway? Is that the rationale
And if-
here?
We'd be able
That-
to see the algae mats a whole lot better.
The the drawdowns that they use over in Maspinock is attempting to kill some of the invasive weeds. That's why they draw it down so much every year. And if you get the right weather conditions when you draw it down, yeah, you can control a lot of the lake weeds better than through applications of herbicides and things like that. Pratt, where it's a more natural pond than the bulk of Maspinock, even if we drew it down another 6 or 8 inches, I don't think that shallow cove where P3 is. I don't think that would wind up dry enough to freeze the roots of the plants that are in there. I really don't think that would have a whole lot of effect on the invasives that are in the pond.
How
And
deep
that's
P3?
P3 is about 2 feet deep.
Right. And if they drew it down, you don't think that would freeze those
If-
weeds there?
If we lower the lake level another 6 inches, you're going to wind up with 1.5 feet of water in there. And
Oh, I
so
thought you
it,
said 6 to 8 inches.
even still, 6 to 8 inches, and the water's
I
2
mean,
feet
6
deep
to
in
8
there.
feet. It was, okay,
Yeah,
you're only
no,
talking
we're,
6 to 8
we're-
inches.
we are
All
not
right.
going to get that in
Okay.
any imagination.
And the other
Right.
thing, our weed treatment protocol is totally ignoring the cove anyway. I mean,
Yes.
it's not being treated, it's, it may be a reservoir for some of the invasives like fanwort, but
There's lots of that in there.
it's not, in no way is it harming recreational use. So it's not being treated.
That would be the easiest place to treat probably because it's so
But-
shallow.
Yeah,
But it's not.
treat the source. Holy cow, what a concept.
Yeah, but like you were just talking about, like there's a lot of harm can be done from what's living in that area too, right? So
Yeah. I wouldn't want to dewater that. But
Yeah.
ecologically, the cove I think, has quite a bit of value.
some big snappers in that cove, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
always see a hare.
Yeah.
I always see a hare in there.
Yeah.
Wood duck's nest in there. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that cove.
I will be
Yeah.
soliciting quotes for weed management in the next couple of months. And also, I happened to discover this or learn about this a couple of weeks ago. The town has a contract with the Department of Agriculture for geese management.
Oh,
I'm not quite sure what they do, but they've done it before because this is at least the second contract we've had with them to do geese management.
I remember a few
Are you
years
sure?
ago, some of the families of geese that would come visit my yard. One day they had no bands on them, and then the next day even the babies, the small goslings, they were all banded. So somebody's out there, capturing entire broods of geese, and they were putting bands on them. I haven't seen it done in a couple of years, but yeah, I know they were doing that as part of the management.
So Bill,
You
who's
know,
doing
there-
Oh,
that?
sorry,
Who's
go
doing
ahead.
the geese management?
Department of Agriculture,
Bill's at the federal or the state?
the Federal Department of
Federal.
Agriculture.
So Mass Agriculture, we have somebody who lives in town who works for Mass Agriculture, and he's the head of energy and environment. I wonder if we should talk with him about being on our committee. It's Dave Schmidt. You know him?
He and I
Any of
serve
you?
on the Green Communities Committee.
He runs Oxcart Farm at the end of Grove
Yep.
Street.
Oh, I know Dave.
You
Yeah.
know Dave because he's on the board of Touchstone.
Yeah. So what about
I-
Dave?
Should I talk to him about, we need people on our committee. Might be a very good person.
What is his connection again?
He works for Mass Agriculture and he's the head of energy and environment for Mass
Oh, yeah.
Agriculture.
That job. I just saw him too.
And as I said, he and I served together on the Green Communities Committee.
You serve together on what?
The Green Communities Committee,
Okay.
part of the committee that got us designated as a green community.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Bill.
So I think getting Dave Schmidt involved would be a great idea. I love his thoughts on that.
You think, what, Sally?
Involved with the Department of Mass Agriculture, that would be good.
You think I should approach him about it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Lori, if you could send me his contact info, I'll reach out to him and
Okay, all right.
put some feelers out.
And if you
Great.
want me to get involved, just let me know. I can reach out to him too.
I'll name drop both of you.
Okay.
We'll
That
pay him a
sounds-
visit. We'll make him an
Bill,
offer he can't refuse.
Bill, do we have any reports from, or any idea what the federal Department of Agriculture has been doing? Do they provide a summary of what they're doing to the
I'm not aware
DPW?
that they've provided a summary. I can check the contract to see if it describes exactly what they will be doing.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
So it's,
Um,
Please
so
do.
the contract has been in place, so they,
Well, I know this
or
is
is it
at
going
least the
to be
second
in
time
place?
we've contracted with them.
Pardon, I'm sorry,
It is at least the second time we have
second time,
contract.
okay,
It may be only the second time.
okay.
Um,
If you could
APHIS,
share the
whatever.
contract with us and any information you have, because that should be in the TRC report.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then one year at least, I think the RecCom contracted with somebody who had dogs. And then another year, weren't they treating the eggs with oil or something? Is that another case?
That's the technique, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I
That
think
is
that maybe that's what APHIS was doing. I don't think the dogs worked very well, but I'm not sure the timing was perfect.
the dogs technically work well in like a golf course or something when you have them chasing them off the little ponds in the golf course. I don't know if it'll work for Pratt Pond to have dogs running around chasing the geese.
Chasing small children, whoops.
Dog bite and then you're in trouble. I mean,
Uh,
technically, you could like the geese don't come when the kids are there because it bothers them. They swarm the beach right around 6 o'clock when people leave. That's when they just kind of walk in. Like, is there a way to unroll a fence like us, like little fencing now? Like, oh, we zip it down and we do it. So discourage the geese from having like that access that they're looking for. So. But also the whole fertilizer in the upper field needs to be considered. So there's a lot going on there with the rec
Yeah.
department.
Well,
I can actually probably tell you exactly how the fields get treated, because the bill we get from the company that does the treatment, I think describes specifically what was put down and in what quantity.
Yes, and maybe you can even get the dates, and we can see if there's a
yeah.
correlation between.
Bill, if I could ask you to get some of that information, that would probably that would be helpful.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Bill, do they treat the cemetery too? Or fertilize the cemetery?
I'll have to look. I don't remember seeing bills that refer to the cemetery, but I see so many at this point.
Yeah, the geese do a very good job of fertilizing the cemetery. What I've heard, you can't like walk in the cemetery.
And I think there's fertilization, and I think they do some grub type treatment.
Grub control.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then, of
Right.
course, TRC did have some comments about the runoff from the cemetery, just in terms of sediment.
And the
Yeah.
erosion on the bank from the cemetery down to the pond. Yeah.
It seems like that would be like the perimeter that could do well with just having shrubs along the edges, because the geese don't want to have things rubbing on their chest. So they want like an easy access to the water, right? So if there's not an easy access, they'd be more discouraged from that area.
All right. We're about 20 minutes over our schedule time. Anybody else have any other last minute items they'd like to discuss? And on that note, do we have a motion to adjourn for the last time this year? And Bill has moved. Second?
Second,
All right. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
All right. And folks, I wish you happy holidays. And our next meeting is penciled in for January 5th. And we'll